why they have decided to give you zero cost for the mega pay-per-view events. By the way, saying that there is no financial obligation for them to somehow make a return on it. Although I don't know how accurate that is, right? Because there is a return for everything. Now, in terms of the Saudis, it may not necessarily mean as a return in ways of, let's say, the conventional sense of, all right, you know what, this is how much we're going to invest, and in 5 years or so, this is what our projection of returns are going to be. That's not always the case, right? With the Saudis in particular, they have a completely different agenda. They have a completely different reason. And I'm going to go into those particular reasons as to why. We're going to go through the X, Y, and Z of these matters at hand, right? The other business matter at hand that we're going to talk about, obviously, deals with Joe Rogan. Once again, coming back to UFC 319. Now, I never really prefaced what we're going to talk about with Joe Rogan in UFC 319, right? I sort of left it as an open-ended title. Okay, Joe Rogan is in UFC 319, and it's going to be Dustin Poirier's analyst debut in the analyst desk. Okay, so not necessarily in a commentary, but within the analyst desk, that is where Dustin Poirier will be working this weekend. Shout out to Marty Miller. We are back. That's right, my man. We definitely are back. Dropping some, content out there. I dropped one of my Gangland, channel. I do everything in this channel, but obviously it's more like Gangland content that I just did earlier. Little housekeeping notes on that. It's called Stupid Young Punk Munchie B. A little bit of some LA gang conflict going on there. So if you guys would like to check that out, obviously, it's not the only type of particular content that I do. Obviously, I do other things such as political topics. I also touch on topics of street politics, which, by the way, sort of delves into what my latest video is talking about. Put it like this, right? Asian Boy Crips versus Inglewood Bloods. I mean, if you are into action movies, if you're into hood stuff, if you're into conflict, if you're into crime drama, I mean, I got it all for you in this channel right here. So shout out to David Miha. Hi, how you doing? Monkey VR, how are you, my man? Kyrie Sav says, no, I'm not. I'm from Stockton 8th Street. So if you know anything about that world, you know about Stockton 8th Street. So I have family out of that particular section. On top of that, I know a lot of homies from that section. I roll with a lot of Samoans. Put it like that. So T-Man says, what's up? What's up, T-Man? How you guys doing? All right, man. We got a few people in here. So, okay. So what we're going to do right now, all right, we're going to talk about UFC and TKO. All right. So obviously, I know Stockton. Oh man. Okay, that's a little too much information right there, Kyrie Sav. But shout outs to you, man. You know, you share my name. We share the same name. The only difference is that you spell it in the same similar way that Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, spells it. I spell mine, obviously, the Arabic version of that name, which is spelled with a KH. Yours is spelled with a KYRIE. Mine is spelled, obviously, as you see on the handles right there. My bad, bro. No, it's all good. Listen, I tell you what. Here's something you got to understand about this channel, right? And I'm going to need you guys to like and subscribe so that I can get on with this particular topic, right? And a little disclaimer. I allow freedom of speech here, right? But to a limit. Now, what is that limit about free speech? that limit is that, all right, two things. If you want to criticize Islam, for example, all right, we're going to have a debate on it. Obviously, being a Muslim man and somebody who has studied long years. Let's see. Do we have some reception going on? Let me know, guys. Let me know if we have. This is the thing about live streaming on the outside, is sometimes you know, you don't know what kind of reception you'll get in certain areas, so you know, you got to be on the lookout, you know, for that sometimes. All right, so let me know if you guys are getting any reception from me right now. We're gonna go 1 2 mic check. All right, how about now, guys? Mic check, okay? Let me know if you guys are getting this right now. Okay, all right. I see. Okay, I see from the iPad there that everything is good. All right, so I think we're back right now. Okay, good. We're back. We're back. Okay, so getting to the questions. Red Hot Chili Peppers asks, what do you think about JDM versus Islam happening at MSG? I think that it's a great card. That was the card that was supposed to be slotted for Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. That was the headline date that they had. But on the other hand, they were like, you know what? We can't get this fight going. So what we're going to do is we're going to have JDM versus Islam Makhachev, because it's a big fight. It's sort of like a double championship fight in a way, right? Because Islam was never really stripped of the title. I mean, he was on a technicality, but a different kind of technicality, to where they didn't want to give everybody the double champ opportunity when they were just going to drop it anyway. And then on top of that, just create like a pileup of discombobulated mess within the divisions. So it was the most clever thing that they could do. Red Hot Pepper says that are in a no. So what is the third one? And then a female fight that's probably a title too. Okay. So Kyrie Sav asks, Canelo going to beat the brakes off of Crawford? I disagree with you, Kyrie. The reason why I humbly and respectfully disagree with you is because I think that Terrence Crawford's skills, size, and being that he's big enough, contrasting of what other people may have thought about his size difference with Canelo, he's absolutely big enough to handle Canelo. And I think Canelo is, at an older age right now, and Crawford is right there, just right there in his prime. It is the perfect time for him to get a split decision win over Canelo, in my opinion. So, Red Hot Chili Peppers, sorry, you cut out, the 3 title fight comment. Would you care to repeat your opinion on that? Okay, so the Islam Makhachev fight, right? I like it because obviously Islam Makhachev has nobody else in the 155 division other than Ilia Topuria, who is now clearly the 155 champion. Now, in regards to that, the reason why Ilia Topuria is the champion right now is because Islam Makhachev had to drop the belt. Now, what I like about this is it sets up a super fight. Okay, now, by the way, Ilia Topuria has been announced for December. So what does that mean? JDM wins, JDM fight with Islam. Islam wins against JDM. And then a month later, it's Ilia's turn, just like what they did, right? If you notice, yeah, they were kind of, going at, each month's turn or whatever, to, to sort of set up this fight. So both of their fights are December, November, and then you have somewhere in the winter time or in the you have a situation where now they are what do you call it? They are set up for an even bigger fight, right? Two double champions, double champions, right? And then the other one, Van versus Pantoja. I like Joshua Van. He's becoming everyone's favorite hardcore fight fan. Pantoja has a great story. I love the fact that he came from poverty. Not only that, from a very neglectful parent, right? Which, by the way, not a lot of people in the world of MMA talk about unless you're Sean Strickland, and even him, it took a while for him to talk about that. Only when he got the spotlight for the world to see him, and then for him to realize, man, you know what? I have some internal damage that I want to share to the world. Now, is it the smartest thing to do to disclose that kind of information all the time? In my opinion, no. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that a lot of fighters are going to use that against you, this, that, and the other. I'm not saying that Joshua Van is going to use that on Pantoja in any kind of way. But if you have a loudmouth, gangster type of dude that's going up to fight against a Pantoja, not to say that Joshua Van is that. He's actually quite a humble young man. But if you got a guy like that, they're going to use that. Oh, your dad neglected you, your dad hated you, or this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, man, you got a fight in your hands that's, that has some serious implications of, bringing up personal issues. So, are you an MMA coach, by the way? You are very knowledgeable. No, so my background is that I have fought Muay Thai. I fought, MMA before. I've wrestled all my life. So now I just train martial arts and, live a regular life and talk about MMA on the internet. So that's where I think a lot of my knowledge comes from. And then also, people sort of confuse knowledge of the game versus knowledge of actual fighting. You see, there's a lot of content creators out there that are very knowledgeable of the game, that understand the business of MMA, that understand the storylines, also understand the biographies of many fighters and can make wonderful videos about them, right? But when it comes to actually fighting and actually knowing how to fight, well, those are two completely different things. Here's something that I think I'm going to earn your like and subscription to this channel. I know how to do both. And as a result of knowing how to do both, man, that is entertaining as anything. And then on top of that, I do California gang content and then talk about geopolitics at the same time. So there's different layers to this content that I can offer to everybody. So what do you think about MMA Guru? That is a very good question. I love these questions about MMA Guru, right? All these other MMA content creators. So what I love about MMA Guru is the fact that we are actually talking about MMA Guru right now. And what do I mean by that? Look, MMA Guru has created a space where you don't need to learn how to fight. You don't need to be a fighter. You don't need to have friends in MMA to be in it. All right? But for the guys that don't, for the guys that do, that have all those things, guess what? What you got going on is a person that is equipped to have the best chances to become the best MMA content creator they could be. But if you don't, you have MMA Guru as an inspiration to look at and say, you know what? I don't have a lot of equipment, money. I don't have a lot of, funds. I don't have a lot of gas to just be driving around, while doing content. I actually do, at least not him when he was first starting out or whatever, right? But you know what I mean. So he is the quintessential underdog that rose from above all that. So I think that is what makes MMA Guru really interesting, is that he was able to forge and become a self-made podcaster without really any help, and then made himself a powerful entity within the game of MMA media. So Marty Miller says, good, you're back. Red Hot Chili Peppers subbed, and I already enjoy your content for sure. Shout outs to you, my man. Thank you for that. And then Red Hot Chili Peppers says, do you think Islam beats JDM? Yes, I do. I think so. I think it will be the hardest fight in his career for sure. So here's how I see the JDM fight, right? You see it as the hardest fight because of the boxing prowess, the range, the distance, the kickboxing that JDM has offered in many of his fights, including that of Bilal Muhammad, who many can say has a very similar style to that of Islam Makhachev. Well, I beg to differ. And the reason why I beg to differ is that Islam Makhachev has a style that is a rinse and repeat, meaning that if he wants to take you down once, he's going to do it over and over again. Not only that, what's even worse about Islam Makhachev for JDM is that he's got evolving striking skills. He can knock you out on the feet. He can take you out at any given time. He is versatile in his attacks now more than ever. And as a result of that, I think that it's going to be an extremely dangerous fight for JDM. And JDM is going to get exposed and fraud checked. I know that he's already been fraud checked early in his career, but he's going to get fraud checked in his UFC career post beyond anything that he's ever had to face in the regional scenes, and he's going to feel like a rookie again. Remember what happened when he was a rookie? Well, guess what? That's exactly how he's going to feel when he's in there against Islam Makhachev. Do many people realize that when Islam Makhachev is in the training room, that he almost beats the living hell out of DC, and this was during the time when DC was the heavyweight champion of the world. Now, again, sparring is sparring. Those are different circumstances, and maybe in a real fight at some point, Islam Makhachev could be taking Daniel Cormier down, but out of nowhere, Daniel Cormier might hit him with a bomb right hook that only a heavyweight can really put out toward somebody that is a 155 or a 170. But rest assured, when it comes to wrestling, and the fact that I know that JDM doesn't have the type of knockout power that DC has, it's going to be very impossible for JDM to do anything different in terms of what Islam Makhachev wants to do. So let's see here. Okay, Marty Miller says, I kind of agree with Kyrie. I think Islam might make it look easy. And then we're all going to be surprised. And just like in previous fights where we thought it was going to be competitive, Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. Oh, Eddie Alvarez is a gangster, man. He's a gangster. He's, a dog. He's got the dog in him. That little head shaking thing that he does. I got the dog in me. Oh, all that. And then, next thing you know, Conor McGregor sidesteps him, bam, hits him with, a straight shot and takes him out. And before that, we're like thinking, wow, Eddie Alvarez has a chance. He made him look like an amateur. And this is just the type of vibes that I see out of Islam Makhachev when he goes in there against JDM. Oh, and it's a New York card. How about that? It's a New York card that is very similar to that of Conor McGregor, except Conor McGregor is the first one to do it now. Islam Makhachev is just following that paved way that Conor McGregor set for everybody that's able to fight in New York. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, do you think Islam has enough time to be a proper 170-er? If the fight is in November, I'm worried he won't have enough time to put enough muscle. It's 15 pounds after all. Okay, so this is a good question. I'm going to pin this question right here by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay, so Red Hot Chili Peppers, to answer your question, right? He actually had a talk, or I'm sorry, he didn't have a talk with GSP. GSP came out on an interview where he had heard that Islam Makhachev was having problems gaining weight. He advised Islam Makhachev, you know what, stay at your natural weight. You don't need to be bigger than what you already are. Your skills are already going to do the rest of what you need to do. Okay, so I think that if Islam Makhachev follows the advice of George St. Pierre, which, by the way, he did not take that advice, it is the reason why he had stomach problems, because he was overeating to the point where he was sort of damaging his stomach. And then you look at GSP now, with the mesomorph body type that he has, he's in perfect shape, perfect health, and he is in that homeostasis of a weight that he needs to be at. But obviously he's not fighting for a 185 title, but I think the performance would be all that of the same. So, okay, now to, let's see here, to answer more questions here. Oh, check this out, guys. Right here we got some, man, this is what I love about California right here, man. We got some beautiful nature that we got out here. Let me show you some nature that I'm driving through right now. Vast open landscape of California. Yes, very interesting advice from GSP. Marty Miller says the only reason why I don't think that will happen is JDM has been training with Craig Jones. But also, you got to understand, though, Craig Jones is not in there with him. And Jones helped Volk to do really good in the grappling exchanges against Islam. Okay, very true. That is not to be taken lightly right there. So that is a good point. Yeah, not what I think of when I think of California. Awesome. Well, I tell you what, this is actually the northern part of California. Look, check this out. This is what we're going to do, right? We're going to go from this landscape right here and all the way into the city within 5 minutes. Check this out, right? It's going to go from here and then into the city. Look at that. Palm trees, big hills, open road out in California, right? So, Red Hot Chili Pepper says, Volk was also a different bodybuilder from JDM. Very true. I think Volk is harder to wrestle with and to submit. True, and he was also a rugby player. JDM ever will be. Aren't taller fighters easier to take down? They are easier to take down, especially the taller fighters are easier to take down, especially if the taller fighters are not born into wrestling in the way that the Dagestanis or, let's say, Midwest American wrestlers are, right? So that's what I think. That's Sacramento for you. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Burberry. That's right, man. Yeah, there's some to that. Yeah, Mr. Burberry, what part of the world you are from again? Seattle, right? You're from Seattle. You ever been down here in Seattle by any chance or anywhere in California? But anyways, yeah, so check this out right here. We're already in an open land, and then within 5 minutes, watch, we're going to be in a city. That's how awesome Sacramento is, right? That's how awesome Northern California is. California, period. I love all of California, but Sacramento is my home. I love LA. I've been down to LA. By the way, I got videos of me in Universal Studios right down here, or right here on this video. You know, it was the same, literally the same week that I was at Disney World. Or was it? No, I think that was a different time. But anyways, yeah, you guys go check that out. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I'd love to see Islam into Poirier win so they can get a chance at a double champ. Yeah, that's what I was saying, right? Yeah, that would be a real big fight that they could promote behind their promotion right there, right? The best versus the best, the pound for pound belt. How about that, right? You know, a pound for pound belt. Never mind a BMF belt, right? Because that's a belt for journeyman guys, but this is more like a legit pound for pound belt. So they can finally get like a double belt, but only obviously the pound for pound belt is something not to be, you know, yeah. Is this COD? No, this is Sacramento, my man. Sacramento. See, now we're already in like residential areas. We went from country areas to residential homes and suburban home areas in a second, and then just like that, we go from country, suburban, and then right into the metropolitan city within 5 minutes. So, yeah, that is the pound for pound belt. Yes. So, Mr. Burberry says, yeah, I've passed through all of California. Used to live in San Diego. Okay, shout outs to San Diego right there. Yes, I'm from Seattle.
I'd rather see Islam versus Khamzat. Islam versus Khamzat. Khamzat has actually talked about that. Khamzat has actually talked about potentially fighting Islam because he believes that Islam has good chances, and he also believes that he has some good chances. So, yeah. And by the way, guys, for those of you that don't know, we are right here in Sacramento as we speak. Right here, Sacramento as we speak and as we drive, right? By the way, a little fun fact right there, right? See this stop sign right here? Well, let's just say that the reason why they got a camera right up there is, let me just say that maybe it's because of me. Okay, no, I'm kidding. Actually, no, I'm not, but yeah. Okay, so Khamzat used to fight at 170. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He would move down to 170 to meet Islam. Now, how awesome is that? That's a real pound for pound right there, right? But only if, let's say, Islam passes Ilia Topuria. Now, that would be absolutely legendary right there. And then on top of that, Ilia Topuria trains with Khamzat Chimaev. So, a little team rivalry going on right there. Yes, he beats DDP. Do you think Khamzat beats DDP? I absolutely think so. Mr. Burberry says, I don't think so. I think Islam walks around at almost 200. So does Khamzat. He's just a little bit taller. Maybe Khamzat's a little bit bigger too. You know, he still has a little bit more weight to put on with his 6'3", 6'2", 6'3" frame, right? So you see right here, we're already approaching a city area, right? We go from the country to not just the country, we go from the suburbs and right into the metropolitan city of Sacramento, right here. Well, by the way, guys, yeah, keep those comments coming while I read your comments and take you guys for a tour of my city that I absolutely love and adore. And by the way, we're going to pass by the Oakland A's stadium because obviously, for those of you that don't know, the Oakland A's have now moved to Sacramento. So, agree, Burberry. I like Khamzat's story. So much hope. So much. I hope he wins. Okay. Hi, man. For Pico, which fight is harder, Murphy or Mozart? Mozart is obviously going to be the harder fight. Look, and they're building new luxury apartment buildings right here. This is a luxury apartment building area right here. And right there, that's the bridge. You guys see it right there. That's the Sacramento Bridge right there. There you go. Right, while the construction is going on right here, and then already the well-constructed, yeah. So we're about to pass A's stadium right now because, yeah, the Oakland A's moved from Oakland to Sacramento. So there it is right there. Look at this right here. See? A little coffee shop that they got going on right here, riverfront. See? And there's the bridge. All right, we're going to pass that bridge right there. We're going to drive through that bridge right now. See, everything is so close here in Sacramento. How does Sacramento compete with San Diego? Ja asks. It depends what you like. You know, the San Diego's very busy, you know, and then on top of that, it's just a really drunk environment. You know, there's a lot of, you know, military people, a lot of gangsters also around there. So, you know, it's an alcohol-driven place, and it's also an ego-driven place on top of that. So, but I like both. I like every city in California, obviously. You know, every city in California is, you know, top-notch for me, man. So, which state? This is California. You honestly have a great voice for MMA media. Would love to have seen you as an analyst in the future. Inshallah, man, that would be awesome for sure. You know, that would absolutely be awesome. That would absolutely be awesome. All right, so now we're going to pass by the bridge right now. Here we go. The bridge. I mean, I just want to have the perfect weather if I'm going to be taxed. Yeah, you're right. See, look, there it is. There's the bridge right here, and now we're going to pass towards the Capitol. And by the way, once I get the camera back to me, we're going to talk about why pay-per-views. I'm still going to answer your questions, but I'm going to talk about why pay-per-views are going to be obsolete in the world of TKO boxing. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so yeah, if your voice is good for analysts, he says. I mean, yeah, you honestly have a great voice for MMA. Okay, I read that part. Red Hot Chili Peppers says, do you think Ank beats Alex again? Yes, I do. Ank is the only dag I'm a huge fan of. Man, yeah, he's got great fighting style, man. You know, Uncle Liam has a great fighting style, and, you know, beating somebody who's a legend like, you know, like that is serious stuff, man. You know what I mean? All right, here it is. We're in Old Sac right here, Wild West town right here. You know what I like about coming here in the morning is that there isn't much people around here. It's like a ghost town in the morning, but in the afternoon, ooh, it gets popping over here. I brought you guys here before during some lowrider shows, if you remember. You know, I do have a video on that where, you know, where I popped up, you know, for some lowrider shows down here. So, yeah, man. You know, good stuff here. So, okay, yeah, I'm a huge fan of him too, Red. He has awesome. Happy to see Ank have some fans out there. So, how Mobzar is a tough fight for Okay, so back to the Murphy versus Mobzar, right? Obviously, Murphy is a very good fighter. He's got good striking, naturally athletic. He's one of those guys that's naturally athletic that was able to transition into MMA. Mobzar, guys, different level. He was born to do MMA. He was born doing MMA. What's up, my man? I'm doing a live stream.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, no, it's all good. Say what's up to Kyrie Abu El-Kheer MMA, you know, on YouTube.
Okay, great.
Say what's up to my live stream. All right, my man. Awesome. Thank you. Yeesh. All right. Well, there it is, man. No audio for anyone else. Oh, there's no audio? Hold up. How about now? Do you guys hear me? Do you guys hear me right now? Let me know. Hold on. Let me turn on my other thing right here. Yes. Okay, so you can hear me. Yes, I have audio. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, Mobzar, he was born into MMA. There's a different level and technicality that guys like that have, and he's never made a mistake. Unlike Aaron Pico, he was also born into MMA, born into boxing, wrestling, you know, the individual compository sport of it. But obviously with combat sambo, it is purely MMA from the very beginning. So different level. Yeah, but Mobzar never finished a fight. Your thought. He never finished the fight, but it doesn't mean that he's not dangerous. Notice how Khabib never really finished fights prior to, you know, going in there against Conor McGregor. Then next thing you know, he finishes Dustin Poirier, and the next thing you know, he finishes Justin Gaethje. Right, all the top lightweights of the world, he started finishing, whereas prior to that, you know, not really. So, yeah, man, you know, that's really all there is to that. Okay, so it's back for me. Okay, good. Okay, so I think Khabib beats Islam every time. By the way, Islam has said it himself. Because here's the thing, Islam is just a more well-rounded fighter, but Khabib is the better grappler and wrestler overall. I think that's really the best way to, maneuver and put it, right? He is a better fighter overall, Islam Makhachev is, and I'm going to attest to that. But at the same time, it is Islam Makhachev who is the more well-rounded fighter. There's a lot of situations like that, man. Like, for example, when Brock Lesnar beat Frank Mir, Brock Lesnar was the least well-rounded fighter in comparison to that of Frank Mir. Frank Mir had the better boxing. Frank Mir had the better kickboxing. But for whatever reason, that particular style of wrestling that Brock Lesnar had was enough to beat Frank Mir. So the best way I would put Islam Makhachev versus Khabib is Frank Mir versus Brock Lesnar. I wanted you guys to check this out right here, right? Highly recommended. Bali Kitchen, right? It is right here on the riverfront, Front Street, 1100 Front Street, right here in Old Sacramento, right? Bali Kitchen. It's an Indonesian Chinese cuisine. Okay, so let's see. Could we see Khabib come back for UFC 400? Potentially, no. Khabib's never going to come back to MMA. He's already accomplished everything that he wanted. And I'm telling you right now, you will never meet a man that is as content as Khabib is with his career, right? Like, you got to understand, they are not exactly the same type of people. I'm talking about in comparison to him and Conor McGregor, right? They're not the same type of people in terms of, attention. Like, Khabib is okay with, all right, you know what? Yesterday, I was the hottest thing since sliced bread. Now I'm sitting at home, living a normal life, and maybe a few times I'll pop out just to be a cornerman for my fighters. And that's about it. That's the trajectory. That is the trajectory that he is in. Wish you could have seen him fight GSP. You're talking about Islam. Yeah, that would have been a good fight, man. Yeah, I wish we got a chance to see him at 170. For sure. Well, now we're sort of seeing that in terms of Islam, redefining that role. You see, I think what the Dagestanis do, they have a very good way of making all their guys champions, but not stepping on each other's toes. Like, for example, Khabib retired at the right time. And the next thing you know, transition come to Islam. Then Islam comes in. Now he's doing things way differently than Khabib. He's fighting double champions. He's fighting champions in other divisions. He's going up and, accomplishing bigger titles. And then you got Usman Nurmagomedov, who's dominating Bellator. And by the way, Bellator fight with Paul Hughes was one of the most viewed fights in Bellator's history, right up there with Kimbo's fights. And Kimbo is a very popular guy, if you guys remember. So, something to keep in mind there. So they know how to equally distribute their, not only their wealth, but also their fame. You see, like, it's very difficult to do that with a rap group. It's very difficult to do that with, a Western mixed martial arts gym, because everybody wants the clout and the glory. So, but for whatever reason, they know how to do it. And you know what? Listen, as a Muslim man with a beard, obviously I'm going to say it out loud that I think that those men are guided by Allah, and it's no wonder why they win. It's no wonder why they win and they dominate in the way that they do. So, there's that. What if Khamzat drops down and fights Islam? Can he win? Yes. Let's see. Usman is not ready for UFC yet. Man, listen, he can beat a lot of guys in the UFC right now, Kadu. I think that, yeah, he would absolutely, Dagestanis yield the power of Allah and exert his might onto their opponents. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I'm Christian, but I'm a huge fan of the Dagis and respect them immensely. Islam is my favorite fighter for sure. Well, I think the fact that you're a Christian is probably the reason why Islam is your favorite fighter. And I know that sounds antiquatedly oppositional to say, being that you're a Christian, but think about this, right? I'm an MMA streamer. I'm an MMA streamer who's a Muslim, but my top moderator and one of my top supporters is Marty Miller, who's a Christian. I mean, think about that, right? And why would he go out of his way to support a Muslim MMA streamer the way you would go out of your way to support a Muslim MMA fighter? Well, it's really that simple, because we have fundamental beliefs that are very much similar to each other. And that is something a lot of people tend to forget when they debate about religion, or when they have religious wars that come about these things. So yes, I am a Christian also. See, so shout outs to all the Christians that are in my chat. I obviously have Christian supporters as much as I have Muslim supporters as well, and it's beautiful to see that interaction together. And quite frankly, I'm going to tell you, as somebody who is a conflict resolutionist, I obviously don't mind the debates and the fights. Again, this is a freedom of speech platform, but obviously within the limits of YouTube, obviously. But with that, I welcome anything that you guys say. So. But yeah, sorry, I thought I was gonna. I thought I was going to see some kind of domestic situation over there. But hey, listen, that's why I tell you, this is the most epic mixed martial arts stream ever. You never know what I'm gonna run across. Look at that. Look at what I just ran across with earlier. So, I tell you, man, listen. I don't even use a camera to do these shows, right? I just do it with my phone and keep it entertaining, as much as I can. But yeah, go way beyond the talking. The F is going on here. Yeah, it looks like they were probably having a bit of some shoving match going on or whatever. But yeah, Miller, you're on point. Joey Diaz in the house. Joey Diaz? What do you mean? Was Joey Diaz in the house? How? Oh, okay. Agreed, brother. We are closer than we realize. Red Hot Chili Pepper says. Zabit Magomed Sharapov is such an epic name, by the way. It really is. Oh, he missed it. LOL. Missed what? Oh, you said that. No way. Joey Diaz? Am I reading that right? Fresh melon juice. There's fresh melon juice right there. Fresh melon juice popping in is just as equally good as as Joey Diaz, or if MMA Guru was to pop up in my chance. Read Melon's first comment. Okay. Oh yeah, Miller, you're on point. No, that's not it. Oh, Khalib, Stiopich, Tapora, and Dukas are all great fighters. Oh, okay, got it. Because you're trying to emulate his accent. Do you? Yeah, okay, that's what it is. You're trying. Okay, you're emulating his accent. I got it. Okay, all right, man. Yeah, see, for an old man, I have a good understanding of the internet language. You know what I mean? I know a lot of dudes my age are not very proficient in understanding, the internet language in any kind of way. So, like they don't know what an emoji is. Like, for example, when you say cap, oh, that's cap, man. Guys who are 40, they'll be like, what are you talking about, cap? What does that mean? So, all these, vernaculars that, the older guys don't. But, yeah. Oh, speaking of which, oh, check this out right here. The Laugh Factory right there. Speaking of Joey Diaz, he's performed in that place before. That's how Joey Diaz says his name. Oh, yeah. He's performed here before. Joey Diaz, how about that, right? How about the universe coinciding with us together, right? And then there's the famous Joe's Crab Shack, which is right next to the bridge right here. And we're going to enter the bridge once again. And, yeah, check out where we are at. Okay. So that's the Embassy Suites right in front of us. And here we go, right into the bridge once again. And by the way, if you have a boat, you can just boat towards that direction right there, and it'll take you to the Bay Area. That's it. You know, take you directly right into the shores of the Bay Area, Marina, San Francisco, all of that. So, you know, real West Coast living for y'all right there. He said great timing. That's what I'm saying, right? You know, that's what we try to emphasize here in this podcast, is we try to emphasize great timing and everything in between. So, I didn't want to be remiss or forget the main topic that I wanted to talk about, which was why pay-per-views are no longer going to be an issue for the viewers in regards to TKO boxing and Riyadh season Saudi Arabia now teaming up with Netflix. Okay, so that is the next topic that we are going to talk about. Dana should give Zabit a fast route to the title. You know what, man? Zabit was right up there, and then obviously he had to retire because he was studying to be a doctor, which, you know, is great, but great for his own personal journey, just not great for us as mixed martial arts enthusiasts. So, you know, with that in mind, yes, we're going to talk about the pay-per-view model and whether it's dead or not. Okay, so stay tuned. I'm going to put the view of the Oakland A's stadium right in front of you guys right now. So stay tuned right now, okay? Hold on just a second. Yeah, I did. Did you hear Shab's response to Moicano? Fresh says, yeah, I did. Okay, we'll talk about that as well. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think we may get Pantoja versus Marab next year if he beats Van. I don't know if he beats Van, though. We will see. Hold on. Be right back for the bonus stream. Okay, mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you guys hear me? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, all right. We got volume. All right. So so can you guys hear me? Okay, so we can obviously hear everything here. All right, good. All right, so you guys are now looking at the parking lot of the Oakland A's stadium. Okay, so bear bear with me. Okay, so let's see here. All right, let me read these comments right here. So okay, what did he say? Double tap that screen. double tap that screen. I think Olives is coming back too way too soon. Oliveira, who's he fighting this time? Yeah, I'm tapping Barry. Nothing is happening. I'm tapping Barry. Nothing is happening. Okay, so well, that's well and good. I guess for a social media guy, he just talks out of both sides of his mouth. Dude is a compulsive liar. Are you talking about Brendan Schaub being a compulsive liar? You know what? Here's the thing with Brendan Schaub, right? I think that he's a guy who really doesn't have a strong identity. I think he's a people pleaser. But also on top of that, I also think that he's, a bit of a narcissist. Not saying he's a sociopath, right? That would be an extreme thing to say, but I would certainly go in the lines that he's a bit of a narcissist. Is Brandon Schaub? Okay, so Rafael Faziev, what's your favorite striking move in MMA? Mine's probably the tornado kick. You know what? The tornado kick is my favorite move as well. Red hot chili peppers. I love throwing that. Right, I practice it a lot. I train at it a lot. I've thrown it a few times in a fight. So, very yeah, very interesting move. Superman punch. I like the Superman punch as well. Oh, bet that's awesome. So, okay, now, the reason why TKO has decided to walk away with pay per views is because I want you to think of it like this, right? Pay per views is a dying model. How many of you guys are out there turning sidekicks? Marty Miller says. How many of you guys are out there, uh, and don't lie, go out there and pirate streamed fights? All right. I think the majority of us do. And you know what? I think Turkey Al Sheikh at some point has probably delved into doing that. Although I don't know if he knows how to do that. Maybe he has a security team that would prevent him from doing so in a way where it would be like a national security crisis for, let's say, an important figure in a country or an important leader or something like that. Very similar to, let's say, if you were to compromise an email of a U.S. congressman or something like that, right? Or let's say an intelligence, agent of some sort, right? That would be equivalent to that. But in any regard, they understand the market. They understand how people think, and they understand that there is a much more longer, uh, how do I say this, longevity when it comes to just placing bets on having as much viewers view the fight as much as possible because they're already viewing it through the lens of piracy anyway. Right now, you imagine the real numbers of the UFC are probably astronomically high if you take piracy out of it. Okay, I want you to think about that, right? The amount of piracy would absolutely be, uh, if it was accounted for, you would be surprised what the true fan base of the UFC is, or other, pay per view models. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I'd literally buy every pay per view if it were $20 or included in Netflix subscription or something. Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that. Fresh. Fresh says, I'm not a great fighter. I'm dead. I poke special. Good read. The John Jones special. Yeah, I poke here all day. Sidekick isn't a punch though. Okay, never. Okay, he said a favorite strike. Okay, eye poke special. Yeah, the CIA move. He says, yeah, the CIA move. You're always with that, that CIA talk, fresh melon juice. But but then you also say you're 14, so that's, you know what I mean. It's kind of weird, like, you know what I mean. What to believe? But on any regard, we're all anonymous online anyway, except if you are the actual content creator yourself, and only that you can decide how much you want to disclose, one or the other. So, okay, let me I'm gonna pin that comment with Red Hot Chili Peppers right there. He said that I would literally buy every pay per view if it were $20. included Netflix. That is the similar deal that they've had in the UK. Now, look, for a long time, it is Americans who have only been paying for fights that are right around $80 or so, right? Now, why is it that we do that? Okay, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why we do that, okay? In America, we live in a culture that literally shames us for not having enough. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'll give you an example, okay? I had a buddy of mine the other day. He shopped at, you know, uh some store, maybe Ross, maybe Marshalls, one of those stores. But on any regard, he runs across a coupon, right? And so he presents this coupon to an Indian lady who works there. And then guess what that Indian lady did? This Pajit, right? This Pajit literally said, "Oh, well, what do you mean? You don't want to pay any extra? Are you like poor or something?" Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I understand this woman is Indian, okay? You could take a judge as to how American she is, but that right there is just American culture centric attitude to the fullest, even from an Indian lady. Okay, now why did I say that? I'm saying that because, look, man, understand this. They are uh they are here to shame you for not having enough in America. I'm sorry to say that's really the kind of culture it is here. I have a lot of foreigners from around the world that ask me about America, that ask me, what it's like to live in America. And I tell them, don't come here and live, bro. I'm telling you right now, especially if they are Italians, if they are Greeks or Spanish or this and that. I know a lot of people that are from Germany and Spain that come and visit LA. They love LA, but man, I told them, bro, listen, if you're going to come and live in America, you better be a millionaire because life in America sucks if you're not a millionaire. I mean, you know what? If not a millionaire, then somebody that has had a little bit of some help from prior generations. Because the truth of the matter is, with a lot of these so-called self-made hustlers that you see on the internet, what they forget to tell you is that everybody at some point has help. Okay, even Elon Musk has had some help in some way. Now, is it that he did all of the work, all of the legwork, this, that, and the other? Yes, we can absolutely agree with that. But just understand that everybody needs help at some point, and that's kind of where I'm going with that. What do we have here? Marty Miller says they use him to infiltrate international juvenile gangs. Okay, well that makes sense why Fresh Melon Juice might be here. Then 14 Jump Street, exactly. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, laughing my ass off at Fresh. Imagine giving a customer crap about using a coupon that your own store sends out SMH, or choose a smaller town to live in America. That's true. Smaller towns in America are winning, out there. It's a great, feeling, when you live in those, types of communities for sure. You know what I mean? So that definitely is a plus right there. Fresh Melon Juice says, isn't America good if you run two jobs for years and invest? Okay, so that's a very good question, Fresh. I'm going to pin that comment right there. Okay, here's the thing, right? I'm not saying that it's impossible for you to, make anything happen here, but you better be rest assured that if you're going to live here to, any capacity, that you have to understand that you're going to face struggles that most people outside of America never have to struggle. For example, if many of you get sick, do you know what you're going to do? Do you know how you're going to pay for it? I'm talking about for the American audience. See, that's your problem right there. That is the main problem, is that most of you are not going to know how to fix those problems. But guess what? Tom Aspinall, that little knee injury that he had going on, right? You know what happened to old boy, right? When he had that knee injury, he went to the NHS, and just like that, he got everything, out of nowhere. So, that's just the differences of countries and societies that we have. So, yeah, I never get sick. Well, you say that now when you're young, but yeah, we shall see. So yeah, man. Okay, so we're about to get into the bonus round right now. Okay. Please excuse me for a second. We're going to change a little bit of some scenery right here. We're going to get to the bonus round. The bonus round conversation we're going to have is Does Joe Rogan have it anymore to be an announcer? Because I hear a lot of complaints from people online about Joe Rogan and his job as a commentator, saying that his heart is not in it anymore. Is it true? Is it not true? We're gonna find out. Red Hot Chili Pepper says the UFC should be paying for their fighters' health care. By the way, that's true, but they don't. Unfortunately, Fresh Melon Juice says I think they do behind closed doors. Red, sometimes. Uh, Dana White has bragged about helping Ben Askren. I don't know if there's any confirmation or any truth to that, but yeah. Marty Miller says, I've had enough of Joe Rogan. Okay, good. Well, we're going to have a great conversation on this. On to the bonus round in a few minutes. By the way, guys, keep the comments coming about Joe Rogan because I definitely want to touch on this particular subject with Joe Rogan. So, yeah, please keep the comments coming for Joe Rogan. I will read them, I will discuss them because this is definitely a topic that I am very much interested in right now in the world of MMA. So, please stay tuned. In about, we'll give it about, let's say, 2 minutes from now when I find, a good spot to sort of sit and unwind and talk about it. All right. So bear with me for the next 2 minutes. I will see you in exactly 60 seconds plus 60 seconds. So 60 times 2. All right. To all my loyal supporters, thank you for listening in. You have now just, oh my, okay, this is a bit of a noisy area where we're at right here. Okay, let's see if we can get to somewhere maybe a little less noisy or all right, yeah, let's get somewhere a little less noisier than this. All right, back for the bonus round. So okay, uh, all right, a little less noisier where we are at. So I think we can definitely yeah get this on and cracking right now. So okay, The comment says right here, yeah, the pod is getting a little stale. Um, I think Joe does fine as a commentator, and he's huge for the reason of the growth of the sport. I can't listen to his podcasts anymore, according to Marty Miller. Yeah, about to make a pesto grilled cheese sandwich. Okay. Uh, Dana paid Makayev's bill after his car crash, and Dana doesn't even like him. Okay. Uh, Anything that happens in a fight gets taken care of, I think. Okay, that's true. Yes, for health insurance wise, yes. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I do understand some of the hate for him too. He says some wacky stuff sometimes. Yeah. Hey, Dustin will be on full time now commentary. Not full time commentary. What you're going to see out of Dustin is sort of like a desk analyst position, very similar to that of Anthony Smith, right? So that's a good way of putting it. Um, yeah, for certain guys, I know Whitaker. They paid for his teeth. Uh, Red Hot says, I absolutely love Joe Rogan announcing his title, by the way. There's no one like him, and I think the UFC would be worse without him. I've had enough of Joe Rogan. Okay. Dustin will be good in a commentary. I think Mr. Burberry says his excitement when someone gets KO'd will probably be up there with Joe. He's not, yeah, that's the thing. He's not a commentator, more like, a desk guy. So a little different. A correspondent is the best way to put it. Fresh Melon Juice says, I think Rogan's pumping out too many episodes and the guests are less interesting. They fall back on current events and gets repeated over and over again. I think when you watch a podcast for quite a long time, eventually you'll start understanding and seeing, the staleness of it, right? Unless of course, yeah, falling back into current events is usually what gets a content on and cracking again. He's actually commentating on the fight, not just on the desk. No, just on the desk. If we're referring to, you know, um, Dustin, Marty Miller says that's a huge part of it. Fresh. I like that he goes over the same talking points every episode. You gotta sauna. You gotta eat health meat. AI is effing nuts. I love bow hunting, etc., etc. Yeah, it's boring. Yeah, for sure. You know what? At certain points, right? Joe Rogan back in the days was very fresh, innovative, and at some point, yeah, he did get a little bit stale. Joe Rogan absolutely got stale to everyone's liking, and it is unfortunate, but at the same time, it's just it's part of the game. You know what I mean? It's part of the game. On top of that, he's getting a little bit older too. Look, also here's another thing, right? Joe Rogan does not have a specialty in anything, right? So when you don't have a specialty in anything, you don't really offer anything much on the MMA side because let's face it, while you should be out there doing research on the fighters in the prelims, you're out there bow hunting and cutting up some elk that went and hunted. So what's good? Um, I'm the Juice. Here's Juice Man. Oh, Juice Man, how are you, my man? Shout out to Juice Man from the LBC. Speaking of LBC, Juice Man, I got a video out on Stupid Young Punkin. Munchie B. A little blood and crip action in LA. Going on right now. Covering it. So man, listen. 20 years ago, I would have never imagined that people would make videos about gang content. I know they make documentaries about gangs, but to actually like have coverage of of gang warfare to happen, it's insane. It's definitely a different time of media that we live in right now. It sure as hell isn't commentary. Yeah, that's for sure. Comedy. It sure as hell ain't comedy. Yeah. He's not much of a comedian expert. Also, is he? I just think that the combo of Rogan, DC, and Anik will never be for the commentary. Okay, so you like that commentary crew right there. Many people will argue that Joe Rogan and Mike Goldberg were a great team back in the days. If you remember when John Jones was fighting a white Brazilian fighter, he was wearing a white shorts and well, I don't know if he was wearing white shorts, but John Jones was wearing black trunks. And you know how Mike Goldberg is. He's obviously Captain Obvious in everything that he says, right? So out of nowhere, he goes and he says, oh, John Jones in a black trunks. And then Joe Rogan says, well, how about I just say John Jones, the black guy, or Gusumov, the white guy, or this, that, and the other, right? Which was crazy because it kind of showed the boldness of Joe Rogan, right? Joe was innovative, he was fresh, but then at a certain point, Joe became the establishment, and that's really the reality of Joe Rogan, right? He went from a rebel force to the establishment, very similar to the president of Syria. This guy was the anti-establishment before. He was a commander in an Al-Qaeda, brigade from the Al-Nusra, front that was fighting the Syrian government, and now he's the president of Syria. If you can put that in proper perspective, right? That's Joe Rogan in a nutshell. Not to compare Joe Rogan to a jihadist that turned into a world leader, but really, it's the same similar way that, I mean, think about how established Joe Rogan is right now, right? He had Trump on, he was going to have Kamala on, but Kamala didn't want to do it because she's not of that podcasting world. She's not of the podcasting, etiquette of how people would like to see long formats and hard questions and hard debates and nuances, right? She didn't want any of that. But in turn, it helped Joe Rogan shape the culture into what we're seeing it today in the post-Trump modern era that we live in. So let's see the comments here. I just think that Moicano, Patty, and Connor. Goldberg was good, but his stuff is overall got stale for me fast, according to Red Hot. Marty Miller says Goldberg was kind of unintentionally hilarious. Yes, that's the thing about it, right? He tries to be very serious and professional, but he's hilarious at the same time. And him and Joe Rogan, had a good bounce back off of each other. It's not to say that DC and Joe Rogan are not a good combo, but people are kind of complaining at the fact that it's like, two homies watching a fight together, which I don't know. I don't have a problem with, but, sometimes people want commentators that they can relate to, and then they want commentators that they can't relate to where they kind of go overboard with being over professional, kind of like Adam Smith in, Sky Sports Boxing, but yeah. Let's see. So one more questions, and then we're gonna call it quits from here. So Goldberg was good. Okay, Goldberg was kind of unintentionally hilarious. Said by Joe Rogan, ladies and gentlemen. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, "What do you think about the White House card in 2026?" Anik is always a good, more serious commentator. It's a good balance. Okay, so I'm going to answer about 2026. I think JD Vance and Gavin Newsom, the governor of this state of California. So it's going to be Gavin Newsom on the Dem side, and then it's going to be JD Vance on the Republican side. And it'll be exciting because we'll have a new president that we've never seen before, or somebody that is not part of the, of the same usual suspects, right? It's not a Bush, it's not a Clinton, it's not a Biden, it's not an Obama, it's not anybody within the neocon camp, so that should be interesting. So guys, with that in mind, thank you for tapping in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next content, inshallah. Red Hotch says, "Oh, I meant the UFC White House card that Trump wants to put on." Oh, okay. Are you taking us on a live Juma today? I will not, unfortunately. I will be, I will be in Juma, but yeah, I will not be live streaming that one, unfortunately, Fresh. But a great Juma Friday prayer. See you, and And blessings to everybody celebrating the Sabbath and all of that. Peace, man. Have a nice day, Red Hot says. Okay, so to answer your question about the UFC card, it's going to be very difficult to answer, right? But here's what I do see. Okay, Islam and Ilia Topuria could be on that card because think about it. You got Islam on November, and then you got Ilia Topuria in December against Justin Gaethje, right? So they fight in the wintertime, and then somewhere in the springtime, they start getting ready for camp. And then while they're getting ready for camp, then they're off to the summer of July 4th, right? And then you could probably add Tom Aspinall into the card as well. Who is he going to fight? That's all dependent on the landscape of the UFC division. But for the rest of the undercards and the possible prelims, we will talk about that all year round until that event actually comes. So thank you, everybody, for tapping in. Have a beautiful day. Topuria, Fresh Melon Juice says. And Red Hot Chili Pepper says, laughing my butt off. Fresh said, I heard they are holding the big fights until Netflix. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Red Hot Chili Pepper says it's going to be an epic card and an epic year for sure. Stay blessed, Mr. Burberry says. Shout out to everybody. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Burberry, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Fresh Melon Juice, Marty Miller, as always. Um, Juice Man Hype. Let's see who else. Who else was in this chat right here? Ja. Shout out to Ja. Shout out to Kadu. Shout out to Ja again. And let's see who else here. Kyrie Sab. How could I forget about Kyrie Sab? Shout out to you. Shout out to T-Man. And yeah, shout out to everybody around the world. Thank you guys for tapping in. This has been a real good time. Miller time. Stay blessed. And you guys have a great rest of your weekends. Of course, I will be tapping in with you before the weekend ends, just like what I'll try to do and tap in every day. Have a good one, guys. Stay blessed. I'll see you in the next one, inshallah.